Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
Well, every day is a great day to be a Trojan, but today's Friday. You know what that means? It's time for another Conquest Call-In Show where you guys are the stars. Make sure you come with your questions and your comments. The phone number will be up in a second when I get the right banner up. And then you just give us a call. Let us know what's on your mind. We're going to throw out a couple topics for you, like Rajon Davis redshirting. Eric Gentry, according to Matt Zenitz, is out for the game. And the big news on Floyd Boucard flipping from Oklahoma to USC. This is a guy, if you remember, a long time ago, I was very high on. He was tearing up the camps, and just that raw talent. I think that's just what dog work is written all over. As always, I'm joined with Matt. And Matt, how are you doing tonight?
Doing all right. Ready to take some calls from everybody. Yeah.
So let me get that phone number up. Anything new with you, Matt?
Just hoping for a complete game from USC, right? That USC's been excellent in second halves. Let's see if USC can get off to a good start, stitch together a 60-minute game, the perfect lead into Penn State.
Yeah, we've been asking for that full game from this team. We haven't seen it yet. We've seen slow starts, semi-slow start against LSU, the slow start against Michigan, the slow start against Wisconsin. And we have been talking about the fact that, you can't continually do that and hope to bail out in games when you're on the road and also playing against a team the caliber of Penn State, which is a game that has been circled for a while. But we do have our first call. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Good evening. It is Caden, the man from Columbus, Ohio. How are you doing today, gentlemen?
Caden, great. What are your thoughts on USC?
I mean, my fault. USC, a decent team, but I would like to see more defensive performances by Lincoln Riley's defensive coordinator, helping their team get into a better situation. Especially against the Michigan game, I wish they would have brought more defense against, Michigan, but that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Did you watch the second half? Because actually, I think they pretty much shut down LSU. They definitely shut down Michigan except for that last drive. And did you catch the Wisconsin game? This team is definitely what Matt and I are talking about, a second half team. They're bringing the defense. It's the offense early on really is what we're concerned about.
No, I get that. It's just I wish they could bring the defense 4 quarters, not just in the second quarter. And as far as that offense goes, I wish they could bring it more, on the all 4 quarters. It's not just 1 set of quarters, 2 set of quarters. No, it's all 4 quarters. They need to bring both offense and defense, especially against LSU, Michigan. They need to bring it all 4 quarters. Now
they're one stop away from beating. Hold on a second, Caden. They're one play away from beating Michigan, and that defense literally was lights out in the second half. There were a couple of explosives they gave up. They probably wish they could have back. But other than that, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and talk about the defense. The defense has been the strength of this team. The clunkiness has been on the offensive line, the offense. And it's a young offensive line with some redshirt freshmen that are kind of rounding into shape. But I mean, Matt, do you have any issues with the defense so far this year?
It's just limiting the explosive plays, right? 3 big explosives against Michigan and then 2 big explosive plays against Wisconsin. It's that handful of plays. I mean, the USC defense is winning like 85% of the snaps. But again, you don't get an Olympic medal and you don't get a college football playoff berth for winning a certain percentage of snaps. You have to just hold the offense out of the end zone and limit those explosive plays. So really, if USC can just limit those chunk plays. One thing I said a week ago is that, if USC allows like 5 runs of 12 to 15 yards, but it allows 0 runs over 35, 40 yards, like I'll take that, right? Because you can manage a game in which you're allowing just 12, 15 yards and the safety is making that tackle instead of a guy sprinting free half the field, 2/3 of the field. So So just limit those plays over 25, 30, 35 yards. USC's defense can do that one thing, zero, hopefully no more than one per game. That would represent improvement, and you're probably going to see USC win some ball games if the defense can do that. And
really quickly, the longtime supporters and followers of this show, I know you're out there. DML must be a bit new because it's just our thing. We're usually a couple of minutes late. Appreciate you staying and hanging around, DML, if you're still here. But you know what? It's just how it kind of goes sometimes. Anything else for us, Caden?
Honestly, I wish USC the best, and y'all know that y'all play Ohio State next year, correct?
Yeah.
The best of your USC Trojans this year, and hopefully next year you guys can bring it against the top tier Big Ten defense like Ohio State, because clearly that's going to be the biggest test for USC is Ohio State, because Ohio State's the only team right now in the Big Ten that has at least the credentials on defense. They can shut down an opponent early. They can shut down an opponent, both quarters of a game. They can shut down all four quarters.
Who have you played?
I wish.
Wait, Caden. Who you played? Did you play Michigan yet? No. Who have you guys played? Did you play LSU's offense? Did you play LSU's offense yet? No, one of the best offenses in the country. Have you played them? Who have you played on offense? Caden, you still there?
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm letting you go first.
Yeah, go ahead. So who have you played on offense that we should be shaking around with your defense?
No, but I'm saying is that my thing is that USC needs to be tested thoroughly. LSU, Michigan aren't, like, in my opinion, they're a good team, but they're not like the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes got that top tier where they can shut down anyone all four quarters. Okay, buddy. Hey, listen. Look forward to see you next season, but play someone with an offense. And by the way, I think that Ohio State's a good team, but don't roll in here after the cupcakes you've played and try to talk about how great your defense is statistically for four quarters. Let's see you guys play someone, talk about it. Matt, what do you got?
Just, we're rooting for you against Oregon, so we're counting on you next week, October 12th in Eugene.
Well, if Dylan Gabriel keeps throwing interceptions, I mean, it might be a pretty short game. Go ahead, Caden. Yeah.
No, you hold it right there, you bunch of USC Trojans.
See you later, Caden. Have a great night. Thank you for calling. I think you're the first person I've ever cut off on our show. And really appreciate you coming in, but for some reason, it seems like you just want to fight and talk about OSU. We don't even play OSU this year, so we'll talk to you next year, Caden, all right? Have a great evening. All right. That was weird. Weird. All right, so next caller. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, we're talking. Am I being unfair? I mean, who has Ohio State played that's shown that they have a great? On paper, they look great, but we know that you don't play football on paper.
We can move on. Next call.
Hello, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
They look great, but we know.
Oh, can you do me a favor? Yeah, can you do me a favor? Turn your TV down really quick. We'll wait for you.
Sorry, you're breaking up. Are you there?
Yeah, could you turn down your TV real quick?
Okay, yeah, hold on. Are you there?
Yeah, we got you. Just go turn. Yeah, just turn down your radio.
It sounds like I'll call.
Hello? Hello? We're off to an interesting start, Matt. Hello? Hi, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Matt, Tim, Keith from Irvine.
What's up?
Oh my God!
That's the Keith energy I'm used to. What's up, Keith?
What's up? What's up? Hey, you know what, Tim? If I lived in Ohio, I would be mad at you too. Okay, so either way, I'll make this call short but sweet, kind of like a mini skirt. I want to know, when is Matt going to get down to a game? Because that's the one I'm going to tailgate for, okay? I'm going to go all out, might even paint my stomach cardinal and gold when I find out when Matt's coming down. So I wanted to know that. Love the show. And last thing I'll say is if you guys have like a Cash App or a something like that, a Venmo, something where I can send you guys money without YouTube taking 50%, that's my preference. Let me know what it is, and it will be done.
Well,
love you guys.
Love you too, man. Appreciate that. Thanks, Keith, for bringing the energy. So that is the Keith from Irvine that I remember. Last time, I don't know. The world was getting to Keith for a minute there, but he's back, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate you calling. I wanted to ask you what you thought about the score. So, callers, you call in. I want to know what your score is. I think it's an 8. I think Trojans are favored by 8.
8.5. Yeah, pretty much right there.
So give us your score. Paul, thanks for calling back. Is this Paul?
This is Paulie Walnuts Brothers. How are you?
What's up, Paulie? How you doing?
I'm doing great. This is the absolute highlight of my Friday, talking to you and Matt. You guys are great, man. I love it. I look forward to it. I'm sitting there just thinking about it all day long. And then you get a guy like Aiden calling in. I swear to God, I thought it was Barry Pepper from Saving Private Ryan. He's over there. I wouldn't venture out there, fellas. The sniper's got talent. I swear to God,
Paulie, let's be nice to the callers.
Anyway, brother,
let's be nice to the callers, no matter what what energy they come with. Let's be fair. But okay, go ahead. Sorry, Paulie.
Okay. No. Let me tell you, I'm just messing around.
I know you are.
I love it. I love the intensity that you brought, man. I've never seen that side of you before, Tim. But anyway, let's get to it, man. I got to tell you, this last game, I honestly knew we played a horrible first half, and once again going back into it where I wasn't really nervous. I had complete faith in the defense. The only thing is, I thought to myself, man, I said, I wish, I want our defense to kind of start laying some hat out there and putting some hits on someone. And sure enough, the second half comes out and Ramsey's just out there flying around. The guys are smacking these guys around, and that's the intensity I wanted to see. No, it was Ramsey. What was when he hit that receiver?
Well, Ramsey, and then later on, Rajon hit that guy on that special teams play, just an absolute textbook
on the
tackle.
Special teams play as well.
Yeah. They were hitting.
That was perfect, man, and they were hitting. But you know what? I just, like I said, I just feel so confident that they're going to make the proper adjustments. Yes, well, I wish we could clean it up a little bit, the drop passes, all that. But you got to think about it. These young guys, this is their first action, like big time action that they've gotten, that they've had, that they've experienced, and they're going to only get better and better. And I knew in the second half, I was watching Gladiator before the game started, and I don't know why I just pictured like Miller Moss going into in the halftime, taking his helmet off and like, my name is Maximus Miller Moss, kind of thing going on, and just pumping everyone up, because that guy truly is a gladiator, man. The way he just commands a team, and you can see him out there, and the respect levels the players have for him. Kudos to him, and kudos to Woody as well. And I want to I keep giving love to Joyner, man. Every time he comes in, something positive happens, and I'm excited. I know Minnesota's going to be a tough game. It's almost hard for me to watch TV right now because all everyone is talking about is us getting upset, and I'm fired up about that. I can't wait for us to get out there and show these people what FC football is all about. And listen, guys, I'm going to be making tostadas tonight. I got to get back in the kitchen, but I just want to tell you thank you for making my Friday as always. I think the world of both of you, and every time I see Matt laugh or smile once in a while, that just makes my day, man. You take care and have a great weekend, guys. And fight on, baby.
Fight on, Paulie. See, this is the energy. This is it. Love it. Love Keith. Love Paulie calling in, bringing that energy. Hard hitting. The defense is exactly what we want to see. And Miller Moss is a tough son of a bitch on a team that's tough. When you stick out on a team like this for your toughness, you know you're tough. Great call. Thank you, Paulie. Next call, Adam Lamparello. How you doing, sir? I know your number.
Hey, Tim, how's it going? Matt, how are you doing?
Good, bud.
Congratulations on the launch of Rutgers at the Voice of College Football.
Thanks a lot. I'm looking forward to it. First show is going to be Wednesday night at 7 p.m. So happy to be doing it. And I just had one question for you guys. So against Michigan, it was kind of a tale of two halves. First half, we really were pretty much dominated, but the second half, we came back and, in my opinion, should have won the game. Against Wisconsin, same type of thing. First half, they're up 21-10, then we come storming back. So my question for you guys is, against Minnesota, what are we going to have to do to avoid this kind of tale of two halves thing, where we're not good one half and come back the second, or vice versa?
Matt, you want to take it first?
I mean, it's just a matter of, well, first handling the road crowd, and Adam, I think you said in the chat that having played at Michigan could really help USC in this game. And that's a really good point you made. It's just being mentally ready, right? Like, and we know what great teams look like. And like last week, Alabama, blew that huge 28-point lead and almost lost to Georgia.
Yep.
But like the way Alabama came out of the tunnel at the start, like Kalen DeBoer, he's a rock star. He's an elite coach. Like, he beats Sark, he beats Kirby, he beats the big boys, and he has his guys exactly ready to go at the end of a game. We need to see that from USC. We need to see this team firing on all cylinders. And one thing that Tim's talked about a lot, in the off season and then in the early part of the actual season, let's get a 14-0 lead. Let's get it to a point where the opposing team has to throw on every play, and Danton Lynn can just, and Coach Henney, woof, can release the hounds. Just, we can just bury an opposing team. Kind of like, the way we did against Wisconsin in the fourth quarter. Once USC got the lead, then Wisconsin had no shot. Let's do that in the first quarter. We haven't seen it yet against a Big Ten team. Let's see if USC can go ahead and do that.
With Brosburn, the issues, it might be the fact that he can actually throw the ball. But some of these teams that can't throw the ball, I want to see USC jump out to early lead and don't let them dictate the way the game's going to go. Make them change what they have to do. Hopefully, we're going to do that. We're going to see that sometime this season. I think the team's more than capable of doing that, and I think that will change the complexion. As far as the noise being on the road, I don't see this could be an issue compared to what I saw at Michigan or what I saw in Vegas. I mean, both those stadiums were loud. So, and Miller Moss was not fazed by that at all. And also, one more thing. I want them to get to early, but I know they're playing with fire, but this team has also showed they're resilient. And if they go down by a couple scores, they've shown the ability with the second half adjustments on defense to pull themselves out of it. But you're going to get burned eventually doing that stuff. We see some great Pete Carroll teams do that for years. Then you go up to Corvallis, you try to come back, go for a 2-point conversion. You don't get it, right? You have John David Booty bust his thumb playing silly against Stanford that game. There's all kinds of problems going to happen when you're letting a team stick in a game that should not be in a game.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. And the last thing I'll say is I kind of feel like our offensive line is pretty weak. So if you're the offensive coordinator, or if you're Lincoln Riley, how do you scheme around a weak offensive line? Should we be looking for more slants, quick passes, bubble screens, draws? How do you kind of minimize the damage that a fairly weak offensive line can expose you with in a game?
I'm waiting for this again, for this offensive line to that switch to flip. We're talking about guys, as much as I got way over my skis earlier this season, we're still talking about redshirt freshman guys that seem like they're still not where they need to be. Now, we could talk about, is that development? We could talk about individually. We could talk about a lot of stuff. But I do think that they're showing that they have the faith in the young guys to pull this out and get it together. Alani Noah was right back in there, and played well for the most part in that game. He's continuing to have some issues. The line itself overall, and sometimes you don't know who's handing off to what, but I want to make sure, Elijah Page and Alani Noah aren't singled out as the young guys. I'm just saying they're young. The whole line needs to do some work, but we all know that the offensive line, pretty much on any football team, is where the offense starts and where it ends. And it looks like this defense is doing their thing. We're going to have to see how far this offensive line can do to protect Miller Moss, because, you just want to make sure that you're protecting your quarterback, and he's taken way too many hits. Yeah,
Adam, on our film study show on Wednesday, on our film study show on Wednesday, Daniel House, who, Golden Gopher expert, really sharp with his X's and O's.
Right.
He said Minnesota misses a lot of tackles in open space. So that points to the screen game. Screen game, he felt, Daniel House felt, like just in terms of if you're self-scouting Minnesota's defense, that could really work. And the other thing Daniel House said is that, Minnesota did come close to beating Michigan, but did need an onside kick recovery to have a chance to actually tie or win at the end. And, Minnesota was jobbed on a bad call. But one thing about that Minnesota-Michigan game, it's not as though Michigan was able to throw the ball a lot successfully. And Minnesota has not seen any receiving group that is remotely close to what USC brings to the table. Daniel House said USC's receivers head and shoulders above any other opponent that Minnesota's defense has faced. So I know people want to run the ball, but that's not been the strength of this offensive line. Screen game and establishing the downfield pass with these fast, and very able-bodied wide receivers, that's likely to be the first line of attack for Lincoln Riley against Minnesota.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks so much, and great talking to you as always. I think we're going to win 33-20, but we'll see. We'll see tomorrow. Have a great night.
Have a great night. So you guys make sure you're going and checking out Adam Lamparello's work here at the Voice of College Football. He is heading up that Rutgers channel. We happen to have them on the schedule, so get to know your opponent. Go over and check out Adam's work on the Voice of College Football over at Rutgers. And that's the show. We're out of calls, so thank you all for tuning. I mean, that was pretty quick, Matt. We went through 4 calls, and we got nobody in the queue. So if you're a first-time caller, just be a great. You know what I'm doing? I'm actually going to open up the StreamYard. Why don't we do that today? There's a lot of people that don't want to call because they're on their phones, and they can come on in this way as well. So I'm going to go and do something out of the blue and drop that in the chat. So if you want to come in on StreamYard as well, old-fashioned way, we can do that as well, or we take phone calls. Just know that phone calls will take precedence over StreamYard. Just a heads up to you guys. So,
Tim, before we take our next call, lots of smoke in the chat about a top defensive player redshirting. Could be Eric Gentry, and that might mean that he's out for the year with his injury. Something to keep track of. So, we're aware of what's being said in the chat. We'll try to be on it as the show continues.
Interesting that they'd be announcing that. I mean, yeah, at this time. But yeah, I guess we'll keep an eye on that. But it comes. Listen, yeah, if Gabe's announcing it, then I know it's not a troll. So who knows? Although Gabe might be messing with me, I wouldn't put it past him. But yeah, that would be a huge hit to this defense, you guys. As much as anyone want to downplay it, we do have some great linebackers. But I mean, if you look at somebody so far, if you ask me who's the defensive MVP of the team, I'm going right to Eric Gentry. So that would be huge. I hope that's not true. And thank you so much, Matt. You got a super chat here, Matt. When are we going to tailgate with you and Tim? So
if I lived in Los Angeles, that would be possible. But I live in Phoenix, so
okay. And then we have a caller. How you doing? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Benji from Austin. Kind of talk to you guys about maybe a week before the season started. It's been good so far. The prediction on LSU went well. I kind of had a feeling with the Michigan game that they were just completely all wrong for us, but we still should have won that game. I feel good about the Minnesota game. However, what you guys were just talking about, Eric Gentry would just be a devastating blow if he's lost for the season. I mean, he has been, without a doubt, the MVP. It just shows the difference in what we saw last week with Wisconsin and what Grinch was not able to do with him, and then what we've been able to see this season and the difference with coaching with Danton Lynn. So I am holding my breath, hoping that he is perfectly fine for the Penn State game, because I've been living in Southern country for far too long, even though I'm originally from the Bay Area. And for about the last decade, I've been telling people that James Franklin is a complete fraud. And I can't wait till USC plays Penn State. Well, it's coming up, and I hope I don't have egg on my face about things, but we've got to be able to stop the run, and somehow they've got to be able to figure out the offensive line to be able to protect, because an elite pass rusher, a top 5 pick, is coming on his way. And if it looks like the first half or the end of the first half against Michigan, I mean, Lamar is going to get destroyed.
Well, I mean, again, hopefully we can work around that. If the pass rush is there, maybe they can get the ball a little bit quicker. But I'm not gonna lie, I have some concerns about that front seven and what they can do with Penn State if we do not figure out our pass protection. There's no doubt about that. But again, that's, I do believe that this offensive line is going to get better every single game. Let's hope in the next 2 weeks that they can iron out some of the issues that they are having. Matt, any thoughts?
Nothing to add.
Well, Benji, awesome. Anything else from you, Benji?
One other thing I would say is I really think that Lincoln Riley's got to figure out that Zachariah Branch is far more Percy Harvin than he is CeeDee Lamb. And I feel that he's been targeting him far too much in the opening couple of scripted plays. And it's really had the offense out of whack. I think getting him involved more with maybe rushes out of the backfield, or getting him involved kind of in some of the gadget plays after establishing Jacoby Lane and being able to get the ball to Deuce Robinson would be a lot better for the offense, because I think he's a weapon. He's not who we think and hope that he will be at this point in his career.
Well, just a counter to that, how do you get him to that point you want to get him to if you're shelving him and you're not using him, if you're pigeonholing him to certain ways? I get what you're saying, but again, on that long early in the game, I mean, do you think that was designed to go longer? They had a free play, so they took the shot there. And I have no problem getting the ball in his hands. I agree. I would like to see him get a little more separation, but I think the only way he's going to get that is if he gets those meaningful reps and those game reps, so he can work on his craft. But listen, you're not the only one saying that. Matt, your thoughts on Zachariah Branch?
Yeah, I mean, Lincoln Riley's a creative play caller, and I know that the offensive line has limited what USC can do. Like if your offensive line isn't playing great, that does shrink the playbook. But yeah, I'd like to see some wide receiver handoffs. He sprints across the formation and you hand it off. The
jet sweep,
the X handoff, yep, jet fly sweep. Let's see some of that. Let's see some different actions to give him some different chances with the ball, because he's not an elite route runner, right? So and Jeff Rodriguez also said Branch from a standstill position is not a weapon. Right now, I think that's largely accurate. But you need to get him on the run, get him on the move. There are certainly ways that Lincoln Riley can utilize his skill set.
Great call. Thank you, Benji. Again, I'm not disagreeing with you in general. I'm just saying in principle, but I'm saying that maybe we're looking at two different routes of how we get Tim to where he should be. Thank you, Benji.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right. Hey, Robbie, I'll be right with you. We got an old school Robbie call in from the StreamYard, but let me grab this. Remember, Robbie, I said phone calls get priority, but I will get right to you. I promise. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Matt and Tim, is Leon from Orlando. How y'all doing?
Great. Leon, how are you?
Oh, man, I'm busy, tired. I'm working, but I'm listening to the show, so I had to call in and talk to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. What the game on your mind, recruiting, injuries, what are we talking about tonight?
Well, I'm sitting here watching Dylan Gabriel throw 2 or 3 interceptions against Michigan State. But then I saw the information that USC just put out about us losing another linebacker. And I tell y'all what, I had talked to USCJ the night before Bear said he was going to redshirt, because I had talked to Tony Jones, and then I hit USCJ up, and USCJ had the information. So if he's saying something, you might want to take his word for it. That dude is plugged in.
It sounds like everyone was talking to Tony Jones, because I've talked about a dozen people that talked to that guy. But yeah, I mean that'd be horrible. That would be horrible if Gentry's hurt. I'm sure it's coming out. It's coming out. we saw the chat probably about 20 minutes ago. They started talking about it. It would be a devastating blow to this defense. There's no way to sugarcoat it. They talked about preseason. There's just things that you could do with Eric Gentry that, you know, are kind of unique. And the way he was coming off the edge, the way he was playing was just really just like it's like a spark plug for this defense. You know, you would be surprised how much even just the plays where you get a stop for no gain or lose a yard, just throwing teams off, especially when they're relying on the run, how much that gets them off schedule. So that would be a huge blow. Just know though that we have some linebackers that are there they'll have to step already. I mean, if that's the case, I mean, you know, you have two guys, Rajon, and I mean, we have two guys redshirting. I don't know. I mean, that might be a discussion for Rajon Davis. I mean, he might step up and take a role. We'll see what happens. I mean, first off, let's, you know, yes, USCJ is a great source. That is a scary situation that's going on, but let's wait till we get something official before we run completely with it. But that would be absolutely devastating.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the concussions because isn't this his second concussion of the season?
I'm not aware of a first one. Matt, are you aware of Gentry getting a concussion this season?
Yeah, I'm not aware of him going through a concussion protocol.
Yeah, he hasn't missed any game time, that's for sure.
Yeah. I get another thing too, guys. I haven't talked to you in a while. I was at that Michigan game. Whew, that was a great game, a great atmosphere. The fans, man, were really, really good. I just wish we could have pulled that game out. If it wasn't for us having to fight the refs and the Michigan team. But I know, Tim, I think you were there, man. It was a great atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, every game in the Coliseum, we knew this was going to happen. You know, it wasn't really. Maybe it was a paid, like it was a sellout as far as paid attendance, but a lot of guys didn't make it out to the game. I mean, I looked up and there were some gaps. You know, it could have been filled in, and we know that the Wisconsin faithful showed up, and I heard them. You heard them a little bit early in the first half. Matter one guy was telling me fight on. I just gave him a smile. I went back later in the fourth quarter, walked by him, and gave him a nice smile again. But yeah, you know, Trojans got to get out there and support this team. That Penn State game, you guys, Penn State travels. I remember going to Penn State and the Rose Bowl, and they travel and they're loud and their fans will come. We need to be out for that game, you know, and next week when they come to town, if you're an SC fan, you're within 100 miles of the Coliseum, you need to get yourself a ticket and get there. It's sold out, but you know, if you have a ticket, you got to go there and represent.
Oh, no question. Got to be there. I think I'm going to make the Maryland game. That's close to home for me, so I'll definitely be at the Maryland game.
Absolutely. Well, listen, appreciate you, Leon. Thanks for calling in. Like always, you're one of the guys who've been calling for a long time. Appreciate your call and hope to hear from you next week.
All right, man. You guys take care. Fight on.
All right, fight on, Leon. All right, so now we have a special guest. It's been a long time since I've seen this guy. Goes all the way back to the post game show days with LBC Robbie. LBC Robbie, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm so tickled to watch you guys, you and Matt. You getting calls from the NCO right now on a Friday night at 11 o'clock their time. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't be more proud, man. Matt was in the press box last week. I'm just like, I don't know what to say, you know, and I can't help as the first caller of the show to just like feel somewhat part of it, you know, and I just, you know.
Well, we do appreciate, yeah. You're just okay. What are your thoughts on the game? Do you have any thoughts on the Minnesota game or what's going on at USC?
Of course. Well, first, I really appreciate the overall way you've been going about this whole season, Matt, and this thing. The one thing I just like to caution after watching the PFF grades for the O line, I don't see them getting any better against the higher competitions we're going to play defensive line, such as Penn State, Notre Dame's. That's my only concern. Besides that, I couldn't be more ecstatic and proud of this team. and I really love the way they play. The Gentry thing something about that doesn't sound right. I don't think they released that the night before a game when the team's traveling. At least they wouldn't hear it on the road. That just something about that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, well, hold on. I think the issue is that the team hasn't released it. There are people reporting it, and
people just know in the chat. Well, in this day that's going to happen.
I mean, information does seep out a little bit. It does, but
my thing with that is that Gentry was. I remember how I found you and both you guys the night, and it was the Utah game away when Gentry got hurt, and Matt was going on about the personal foul that got reversed on a targeting, going that the refs didn't know the rule and so forth. That was the first night I ever watched you guys, and I pretty much you know the deal since. And last year I saw you guys or everyone, we got this recruit Tackett Curtis and this, and I just shook my head every time, going, I don't see how he should be in there over Eric right now as a plays. And and that's the thing. And then we see what we saw last week, which is the reason, as Tim knows, I don't get excited about recruiting or care. The thing, most of all, I think is, what is the overall difference on defense besides the tackling is everybody knowing their assignment and everybody selling out for their assignment and not kind of like hurry up, lay tackle as we've been seeing the past 3 years. And that will continue whether Gentry's on the field or not. So that's, like I said, the things that will keep this team out of the playoff is the O-line. I'm, sorry to say, just.
So someone asked Riley. What they talking specifically about the Minnesota game. If Eric wasn't in, what it would limit the defense, and I think he gave a pretty good answer. He said, "Well, there's some things that we can't do with him not in the game." He said, but 80 to 90% of it is going to be pretty much the same. But it's also, he said, there's also things that when they have other linebackers and EG out, there's things that they can do as well. So, I mean, it's a give and take, and it's not like someone was talking about Elijah Newby. There's a lot of young guys. I don't think that they're going to be coming out, but there will be depth. And I wonder.
So you said Ray John showed signs of life last week for the first time in ever. So Ray John
shows signs of life pretty much every time he gets in on the field. The problem is they haven't put him on the field very often. So, I mean, I think, he might, if Eric Gentry is out, as people have been reporting, then, there probably is an opportunity for him to come back, and it's a red shirt. He can take that red shirt right off and play. He hasn't missed a game. So.
I hope everybody's
all right. Listen,
thanks so much. Great to see both of you, Rich. God bless you. I'll talk. It will not be as long as for my absence in my next joint of the show. Tell Mark I said I love him. Fight on, everybody.
Fight on, Robbie. Thanks for being here. So I have no idea what that noise is. Okay, so really quickly, guys, I just want to be very clear. There's no official word out. It is being reported, but let's not run with it too crazy. I think there's some solid sources that are reporting on it. But I think before we all start saying Eric Gentry's redshirting, I think we probably should wait for something official. But there's definitely something out there, and we'll have to let it play out. I'm sure we'll know in the coming days what is actually happening. So that opens up a line. Oh, we got a caller. Hold on a second. Let me grab it. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello?
Hey, this is Mark calling from Albuquerque. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Mark, we got you. How's it going?
Another night, man. I'm just glad to hear you guys here on Friday night, man. It looks, I look forward to it while I'm out, trying to get some cardio in. But I just want to, like I said, I try to make this as quick as possible. But it's a sad day, on a Friday Friday going into the Minnesota game. I just wanted to say that. Sad day because I really can't jump on Matt's ass tonight because he hasn't put something forward that I need to jump on his ass. So it's a sad day. So I just wanted to say that first.
Well, you can save time and jump into the football discussion instead of get on Matt today. What do you got for us?
Yeah. So I kind of want to jump up with Matt, and I know Matt's in Phoenix, but maybe I need to direct this to you, Tim, in regards to if you've been able to see. I'm just really kind of confused, and it kind of goes back to Matt bringing this about in the summer on this offensive line. Is there a situation where it's lack of talent or lack of coaching? Because this musical chairs with this offensive line has been going back since 2023, and I'm just really concerned. It's just like I know I watched the NFL game where they is getting a lot of pressure on the offensive line, and they resort to quick screens and stuff like that. And I think it's like you guys have mentioned, it's like a limiting of Lincoln Riley's play calling. But what is actually going on? If there's anything internal, if there's any resolve or consulting going in to assist Henson, or is it just what is going on with this offensive line where we can't have any cohesion? I understand, okay, well, this guy's, it's loud and Page is getting beat off the line of scrimmage because it's loud or something like that. But, this is even going on, in the Coliseum. So if you guys have any wherewithal on this offensive line situation and how we're moving forward, that's what my question is. Just like
I will give a direct answer. In terms of Elijah Page struggling with the crowd noise, it's because he's young. A veteran offensive lineman won't have that kind of problem. But Page, as Tim has alluded to, is young, and so it brings up the point: why do we have a freshman in such an important premium position? And that goes to not landing a really big fish, either on the recruiting trail or especially in the transfer portal to plug that gap. And I know that on the offensive line, you want to develop and cultivate within your program. But let's remember, Bobby Haskins, the portal pickup from Virginia, USC does not have the 2022 season it has without Bobby Haskins helping Andrew Voorhees, Brett Nealon, Justin Dietich on that 2022 offensive line. So USC needed at least one portal pickup to become a solid veteran piece that you don't have to coach from scratch. A guy who has experience can just be plugged right in. Like Bobby Haskins, I think his role on the 2022 team gets overlooked a little bit. And also, if you look at 2022, you had veteran guys. And so this line skews a little bit young. And so, the recruiting, the portaling, and the coaching, it's a little bit of everything. And Josh Henson doesn't have everything at the standard that he needs to. And let's see if he can make some progress these next few weeks.
So, I mean, they are pretty. Matt's point about not getting someone in the portal is pertinent. But we also have to look at what this team was given when this coaching staff was given when they started over. This is year 3. I mean, so there is that. But we're talking about, the first year they got here, they didn't really have a full recruiting class. So you're really looking at that. The guys you're seeing that are redshirt freshmen are the guys that this staff brought in. And yes, there is the transfer portal. Yes, there is NIL. Yes, there are those avenues. And I agree with everyone. It's starting to look like, hey, we're all freaking out about not getting this premier tackle, right? A true nose tackle to sit there. That didn't seem like it. Now it doesn't seem like it was the major. It seems like maybe getting a left tackle. But here's the thing. When you talk about Elijah Page, you're talking about a guy that's probably going to be in the NFL. You're talking about a guy that has the ability, and when we talk about it as a redshirt freshman, he played the bowl game and now he's played 4 games. So he's played 5 games in his college career. And we're sitting here talking about what's going on. How come this guy? The fallback is why don't we have someone else? The cupboard was bare. They did not pick anybody up of quality in the portal during the offseason. That's just what it is. I think for better or for worse, I think that they're riding with these 2 young men who I said from the very beginning they're going to get better. The question is going to be getting ready for that game and against Penn State at home. I think they might be able to get away with it this week in Minnesota, but they're going to have to get a lot better if they're going to be able to protect Miller. And they're running out of time. I mean, that's going to be that'd be game 6. And if USC plays like they've played on the offensive line against that defense, it's going to be a long day. Bit early, I think I said at the beginning of the season that, as far as Coach Henson is concerned, I think this is his season. I don't think this is a put up or shut up year that's going to get rid of him. I don't think that's the situation, but I do think that it's going to get pretty loud in here if this offensive line looks like this the entire season. I think even Coach, Henson would agree that if we don't see improvement on this line, even though they're young, you get in the, game 8, 9, 10 towards the end of the season, and we're still seeing, the difficulties we're seeing. But this is a redshirt freshman who has, 5 games under his belt. And I don't think that it's surprising going up against Michigan, where it was really the most obvious problems they had. A lot of offensive linemen, a lot of veteran offensive linemen are going to have issues going up against that defensive line. So the short story is
Right,
yes,
yeah.
it got to be fixed, but you know what? It's a work in progress, and they better hope that those progress is happening, because it's going to need to get better before they get to Penn State.
Gotcha. Yeah, I totally agree. It just seems like, I don't know if it's a technique issue or if it's an issue with, like, Tim, I know that you might be able to see some practices or maybe a limited part. Like, what is going on in practice where, football is pretty basic. It seemed like they would be working on some of the fundamentals and stuff. I noticed in the second half of the Michigan game where you had the right guard flaring out to the left side because he was on block. Okay, that was an adjustment. Why wasn't those things happening prior to, or are they being coached to that?
Well, Mark. Yeah, they are being coached. Okay, let's not go there. I mean, they are being coached. The things you're seeing are a young line that's trying to get to work with each other. Remember the number of snaps. Alani Noah got some early snaps early in the season last year, but he wasn't playing a lot during last season. And then you have Elijah Page, who started in the bowl game, but then he's going up against these snaps, and he does have the ability. So we're going to need to see some improvement. I think we are going to see this offensive line get better as the season goes on. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. As far as practice is concerned, I haven't seen anywhere near enough practice to make that kind of a judgment. So I'm not really gonna chime in on that. So I have not nearly seen enough of them in practice of what they're working on in order to make that judgment. All right, well, listen, thank you, Mark.
Right, yeah, I understand.
Thanks, Mark.
I appreciate it, guys, and like I said, I just want to keep fighting on, and hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to iron out some of those problems, and get ready for Minnesota, and then move on to Penn State.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Mark. Oh, you got a score for the game? SC's an 8.8 to 8.5 point favorite. What do you got for the game tomorrow?
I'm looking at maybe 31-17. I don't think that Minnesota has the offensive firepower to just kind of keep up with it. And I think we're going to get some stops because Dan Salomon is fantastic. So I'm thinking something, as long as we don't turn the ball over or have the stuff that we had going on in the first half of the last game, maybe 31-17 at best. I think we're all right. I don't think there's a weather issue from what I've heard. So yeah, I think we're going to be okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you for calling in, Mark. Appreciate you. Fight on. Hope you call in next week. We get ready for Penn State.
For sure, man, and fight on. And Matt, I'm going to find something for your ass next week to ridicule you. But, this week you got to pass.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Talk to you soon.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All
Okay.
right.
Bye-bye.
All right. Next caller. Hi, caller. Oops. Not patched in. Hi, caller. Which name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Brian from LA.
Brian from LA. How you doing? Sounds like you're driving. Drive safely.
Thank you. I wanted to point something out that I'm not worried about the offensive line because I know they'll get better throughout the season. But something I've been noticing is that the defensive line is not winning at the point of attack. In the second half, they've been stalling drives of the other team. But I've been noticing that they've been bringing in a lot of safety blitzes. Lynn does a good job of, putting the corners off the line, giving them big cushions so they can blitz, force a big pass, and run the good teams that way. But I'm worried about these high-quality teams like Penn State, Notre Dame, people with really good offensive linemen with tight end sets, like we saw in Michigan, that are just going to run downhill, and they're going to win the point of attack and just keep running and running and running.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, I appreciate you calling, but I got to tell you, I haven't seen much to complain about the defense. I just, there have been some small breakdowns here. There have been some explosive plays, but as a whole, this defense, I mean, was anyone, I don't know. There's a lot of optimism going into that. I mean, people weren't writing SC off. We almost expect now that this defense is going to come out, get some stops, and SC is going to get right back into the game. I know that's a recipe for disaster to think that, but the reason why we've been thinking that is because of this defense, because of the adjustments made at halftime by Danton Lynn, and because of the way they perform. I mean, we're not making estimates and guessing. We're actually watching this team perform, and they're doing it on the field. So you bring up some interesting points, Matt. Your thoughts on what Brian said?
Well, maybe he's thinking about Brian, maybe you're thinking about the second quarter, because in the second quarter against Wisconsin, USC did allow over 100 yards, wasn't getting a pass rush, wasn't, physically imposing, but, second half USC was winning battles. So I think that, if your critique is that USC's not winning enough at the point of attack, I mean, I think that's basically a first half problem, but it's not a second half problem. And just the main thing is, can USC do the good things that it's been doing for 60 minutes instead of 30, 35? I think that's really the best way to frame USC's defensive performance so far this season. And the other thing is just, let's just wipe out the explosives that are 35 yards or more. There have been multiple explosives in each of the last two games, so that's the thing USC has to weed out more than anything else.
Yeah. Brian, anything else for us?
No, I'm right. Yeah, no, I agree. I want to also address that I think that we're doing great on the offensive side of the ball, but obviously Moss is not as talented as Gina. But I also feel like if we protect a little longer, there should be some more deep shots. Like I want to see some stop and goes, some vertical routes with Lane and obviously Robinson, and I don't feel like they've been doing that enough. They've been doing the red zone touches, but not enough deep threats to keep the defense honest.
Well, and I think it's kind of a theme we've been talking about. In order to get those deep plays and be able to throw the ball down the field, you need to be able to protect your quarterback and give him time to let those plays develop. That's why we're saying that this Miller is going to improve, and man, his learning curve, what he's done, what Miller's done this season has just blown my expectations out the window. I was a little bit out in front of what this offensive line with a redshirt freshman tackle and with the redshirt freshman guard. I think we're seeing those growing pains, and I think we just need to see them flip that switch. I think that, Talalele has been getting in. They've been rotating those two. I think Alani and Amos are going to, one of them is going to stick. And then I do believe that Elijah Page is an NFL quality tackle. And we just got to get him those real game reps. You just can't give up on him. And like Matt said, it's a shame that we couldn't have brought in a veteran a tackle to maybe allow him to come along a little bit slower and not just just throw him into a game, because usually you're seeing guys like our juniors and seniors, or 5th year, 6th year seniors that are playing these roles, and we're having guys that have 5 games with Elijah Page, 5 games under his belt. So we gotta, as fans, relax, let the process happen. We may not like it, but like Matt said, the biggest maybe mistake of all this is that we don't have that veteran piece, like you talked about Bobby Haskins. We tried bringing it, we brought in Tarquin last year. I mean, it's not like this staff's not trying and not attempting this stuff. The question is when's it going to come together, and can USC weather Penn State at home if it doesn't improve?
Yeah, they have to give them time to get better. Obviously, you're not going to bring in a transfer every year. Obviously, you got to develop some homegrown recruits. So I'm not hard to change that off, because the offensive line as a whole has to get better. And I think they will. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. Again, they're gonna have to grow up fast though, because the clock's ticking. And again, it's like that cliff scene, right? You're getting closer and closer to that cliff, and if you can't hit the brakes before you go off that, you're gonna run out of time. And so I'm really hoping that USC can get that sorted out. Well, thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate it. Great call. Thank you for calling in. I hope you call in again. Right on.
All right, you guys have a good night. Bye, darling.
All right. Well, that exhausts all of our calls. Almost right on the bell for an hour. We've been on 57 minutes. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in as always. We went negative again. I mean, you guys look. Okay, so USC is 4-1, and we're looking at a team playing lights out defense. There may be a significant injury on defense. But this defense wasn't just one player to begin with. We have some good sources reporting that we might have some really bad news, but we don't have any official word yet. Focus on what we do know. We know that this defense, if called upon, if the offense is struggling, this defense has been able to weather the storm. This defense has been able to stop and shut down the other team so that the USC's offense can get into gear and come back in games. But like we said, we want to see 4 quarters. And if we see 4 quarters from this offense, even with the offensive line struggling, there's no limit to what they could do. I mean, even with this offense, if Penn State comes into the Coliseum and USC comes firing from that opening kickoff, I think I'm not ready here to say that, if we don't improve on the offensive line, we've seen this team play. And I believe in this defense that until the offensive line gets sorted out, this defense is the team SC in a lot of games. Matt, your thoughts on any of that? Because we've been kind of going down this stream. You guys, this is a winning football program. We're favored to win by 8 on the road tomorrow, and we have a big test coming up in about a little over a week.
My main thought, just without duplicating anything you've said, Tim, because everything you said is on point. Let's just get this W, get out of Minneapolis, and then we can really start talking about Penn State with some degree of optimism.
Yeah. Get through the game healthy, and celebrate, because if anyone would have told you, fans out there, and be honest, at the beginning of the season, if we told you we're going into Penn State and we're 5-1 going into I'm starting to lose track of games. So you have USC, on the road going to Vegas, beating LSU. You got the Utah State where you shut out the team for the first time in years. That was a hell of a game. Going to Ann Arbor and losing on a 4th down play at the very, very end of the game, then coming back against Wisconsin and really shutting them down. I mean, that's something special to watch. And let's not get caught up in injuries. We're not talking about any of the stuff that is really happening on this team. And this is a defense that's going to keep USC in games. And so what the balance is going to be is, can this defense shine like it's been shining until the offensive line clicks and it gets moving and we see 4 quarters of football? Because when that happens, there's not a team on our schedule that has a chance of beating us, in my opinion. All right. Well, no calls, and I think we're all set. Thank you guys so much for being here. Remember, we'll be back here on Tuesday night for the Trojan Conquest Live. And also right after the game, we're going to go live with the post-game show right here. As soon as the game finishes, we'll have someone here starting us off to do a live call-in show. It's going to be a post-game call-in show where you guys could talk about the game, just like we're doing right now. So I think we'll have a lot to celebrate. We'll probably have a lot more answers to questions that people are popping in the chat. So make sure you come here live, sound off, because again, this is the place where you guys, are the stars of the show. We may throw some topics out there, but we want to hear what your thoughts are, the Trojan family. So for Matt, I'm Tim. We'll see everybody right after the game when USC beats the Gophers on the road tomorrow. So 12:30. So you're probably looking around 4:30, 5 o'clock is when you'll see us.
Oh, it's a night game. It's a night game.
What's that? Oh,
Penn State's a day game, but this is a night game. Yeah,
I got confused about the Penn State. Yeah. So we'll see everyone late tomorrow night, but I will make sure we're on right away. So come in and check us out as soon as the game's over. You don't know what time it is. We'll put a time up there, but as soon as the game is over, we'll be going live. All right. Fight on. We'll see you guys all sometime tomorrow. And hopefully, you guys, when you do come in, let's be excited because again, it's a great season. Fight on.